Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to our Civics Virtual Training Series. Today, I'm so excited to be joined by my colleague Anong, and we're going to talk about remote production tools that you can use while you're working from home during this time and have the best setup possible. So we'll give folks a couple of minutes to join in, and then we'll start soon. All right, thanks so much everybody for tuning in today. I'm happy to announce Anand's going to take us through Virtual Production Tools workshop. So without further ado, take it away.
Hi everyone, my name is Anang. Before working at Google, I was a creative. I'm still a creative, and so like a lot of you, we all have questions about how to do production, how to create videos, how to just have basic tools available to us during during this time and in the future. And so that's what really a lot of this is about. And I've actually done a workshop previously on sort of more in-depth camera tools. So this is going to be more focused on tools that are being used for remote, remote video calling, live streaming, things like that. And that's really what I'm going to focus on, the basics of that, and then happy to take any questions after that. So to that effect, that's my name. I'm an SPM at YouTube. Bio should come first. I'm an SPM at YouTube, and I focus on GOP politicians, candidates, and policymakers. And I was Mitch McConnell's creative director for a long time, and have done everything from cinematic videos to campaign ads, lots of video production. So, and I've really given this presentation a lot of thought, because what you want your tools and you want your the products that you use in your daily life, in your virtual life, to be as easy to use. So hopefully this gives you some good background and basics on what to do, and go from and start to use these tools and equipment to the best of your abilities and be successful. Did want to mention that the third-party brands and products discussed in this workshop do not constitute an endorsement by YouTube or Google. These are tools that I've just myself found very useful and helpful, and that's how I'm presenting them as. So, very important to remote production and to just virtual calls and any kind of live streams that you're doing currently. You need a webcam. So most of us use the webcams that are provided to us in our laptops. But if you really want to have a proper video production that's going to be virtual and want to have good quality video, a lot of your webcams may not be as good as these proper webcams. So definitely suggest investing in a webcam if you're doing a lot of virtual calls and a lot of virtual productions, live streams, and meetings, webinars, town halls, anything to that effect. And so in that sense, the goal really is to have something that is plug and play. You don't want to be messing around with code or any kind of programs. You just want to have something that you're going to plug into the computer and is just going to be ready to go as a webcam. So to that effect, I would definitely suggest the Logitech C920 and the Logitech C922 Pro series. The C920 is 720p, the C922 is 1080p. They do have built-in mics inside of them, and they're very, very good quality webcams. I've seen them used in so many podcasts that are done on video, live streams on YouTube, plenty of meetings as well. And they're just really, really great, amazing all-around cams. And they've been around since 2012. And so this is a product that's like served everybody really, really well. And yeah, if you really are looking to get into full high def 1080p production, would highly suggest the C922 Pro. Sits right on top of your monitor or your laptop, and also comes with various mounting solutions if you want to put it on a tripod or anything like that. If you are looking for a bit of an upgrade, want to suggest the Razer Kiyo. A lot of gamers use this on gaming platforms, because it does sort of provide you with not just a really nice webcam, but also provides you a bit of lighting. And ring lighting really is sort of really popular right now, because it gives you a bit of that makeup look to your face. So if you're doing any kind of gaming or streams, definitely suggest, and you're looking for something that's gonna solve your not just your video but also your lighting problems, definitely suggest a Razer Keo, because it's the best of both worlds. If you are looking for something that it's a bit more professional and a bit more up to date, the Logitech Stream Cam, which is about $169, is gonna fit the bill. Definitely, if you're looking to even upgrade further out from the previous Logitech models. In that sense, so yeah, having a webcam really important. Highly recommend for people who are doing a lot of virtual work and remote productions. Um, but what if you have a camera that's a really nice camera and you want to really upgrade your technology and your look on your live stream or your virtual meeting or just a recorded video that you're going to upload to the web? I would definitely recommend the Elgato Cam Link, and you have a camera, but the camera has no way to connect to the computer. Now, if you've noticed, a lot of companies like Canon and Sony have put out certain web tools that where you can connect your DSLR or your mirrorless camera to your computer and then use them as a webcam. So definitely look into those. If you own any of those, professional cameras, definitely look at the company's websites and updates or Twitter or any of their firmware updates to see what they've been doing. That might be the best solution for you, but for the most part, a lot of times I know that Canon's webcam tool is only available on Windows. So professional streamers especially use something called the Elgato Cam Link, where you basically, this is an HDMI connection and this is a USB connection, so you can very easily connect your camera with an HDMI out to this Elgato Cam Link, and essentially use a professional DSLR or mirrorless camera or just a professional video camera as a webcam, and definitely upgrades your image quality, upgrades how you're going to look on a remote call or on a live stream. If you are interested in sort of more even higher level production value for that, would definitely recommend something like the Blackmagic Web Presenter, which is, again, these are more for the professional end of the spectrum, but are definitely recommended because I've used them for live streams as well. If you're looking to connect multiple cameras, if you have a professional camera with SDI, would definitely look at the NewTek Spark. NewTek, by the way, is the company that also produces the NewTek TriCaster, which is definitely like on the higher end of remote live streaming and production tools. So if you don't want to buy a TriCaster, you may want to suggest I would suggest investing in a Blackmagic capture card or the NewTek Spark. To really upgrade your presentations. This is for definitely somebody who's really invested in remote production and remote presentations and live streams and things like that. Audio is really important. Cannot emphasize that enough. If you don't have good audio, people will tune out either on a meeting or on a live stream or on a video. To make things very easy, the best way to get good audio is to have a good microphone. And right now, there's a lot of USB microphones on the market. These are just some of the few ones that I would suggest. In terms of microphones, these are the ones in this slide are called condenser microphones. And condenser microphones are very sensitive, and they also they pick up noise from around the room. So, and they have different patterns, cardioid patterns, omnidirectional patterns, but for the most part, a condenser mic will pick up, it's very sensitive and will pick up noise inside of the room. So if you're in a relatively quiet area, you have a production room, you have a radio booth, whatever it is, a condenser microphone is really great for, creating any kind of production. If you're looking to do a podcast, if you're looking to do a live stream, anything to that effect, highly recommend getting a condenser microphone and connecting it to your camera while you're doing a meeting or a live stream. And again, just plug and play. Most of these do not require any kind of firmware, although they do come with certain levels of software that you can sort of control certain things from the inside. For example, the newest one on the market is the Elgato Wave, which is definitely, again, Elgato is a company that caters to a lot of video gaming, but the products that they have can also be used by everybody else. And the fun part of that is that they're super easy to use and plug and play, essentially. The one that everybody knows about, of course, the very popular Blue Yeti mic, is definitely a great mic, especially if you have two people in a room and you're looking to do a podcast, or you're just looking to do a remote live stream with two people. Having a Blue Yeti just sitting in the middle of two people is like more than enough, and putting it on the omnidirectional pattern is more than enough to give you really good audio, versus having somebody with just sort of having the earphones or sort of a lapel microphone. Honestly, a condenser, like an external microphone that is a condenser or dynamic microphone, is way superior to any kind of headphone microphones that you may have. Or are currently using. The AT2020 USB mic is also a good choice. If you're not looking to spend a lot of money and you still want decent audio, definitely recommend Amazon Basics condenser mic. It's only $38. It can't hurt to get it, even if you don't have, if you don't want to buy the Blue Yeti or any of these other products that are a bit more on the higher end. Definitely go looking for the Amazon Basics condenser mic. And there's a bunch of other models. Highly recommend doing your own research. I personally have used at least 3 out of these 4, so I like these. But a condenser mic with a USB cable is just a great investment for any of these remote productions. Now on to another type of mic, which is a dynamic mic. Dynamic mics tend to be generally they use XLR cables and XLR inputs and outputs, and that is an XLR cable. If you've never seen it, it's a 3-pin cable. Comes with an input and output on either end. A dynamic mic is what I'm using right now is a dynamic mic. The difference between a dynamic and a condenser is a dynamic mic is less sensitive, and it only properly works if you speak right into it. And if you move farther away, then the dynamic mic really doesn't pick up the pattern. And so if you live in a noisy area, if you're in a noisy room, you're sort of an office environment, or just an environment where you're just not sure that the room is really going to be noise free, highly recommend a dynamic microphone, because it's just gonna make things easier for you, make things easier for everybody else. It's not gonna pick up distortions from outside or from away. And dynamic mics, because they are a bit more professional and they're a bit more, I wouldn't say old school, but they've just been around for way longer. Dynamic mics are a bit more expensive, but they're definitely worth it. And you may have seen them being used on famous videos like Joe Rogan, a bunch of other famous podcasters and live streamers definitely use dynamic mics to really upgrade their production quality of their videos and their live streams. The one that is highly recommended on the market right now is from an Australian company called Rode. The Rode Pod mic is very popular right now, and is just a great all-around mic. Just a wonderful mic, does a great job. If you're looking to upgrade, and if you've ever seen any of the Joe Rogan podcasts, you're like, well, what kind of mic does he use? Joe Rogan uses what's called the Shure SM7B cardioid dynamic microphone. It is absolutely what you will see in a radio station or in any kind of high-end, audio production environment. Definitely recommended if you're looking to upgrade your audio quality. If you're really looking to upgrade your audio quality and you want a mic that's going to be just the best of the best, the Cadillac of mics as it is, the RE20. I mean, it has been around for years and years. You'll see it in like videos from the 1980s. If you ever watch like an old music video or anything, Eddie Murphy or Rick James are singing into the RE20 mic. Any of the famous singers. It is definitely something that's been around for decades and decades and is a proven microphone. It does cost. That's why the cost is still there, because it is the Cadillac of microphones to that extent. But definitely you will get amazing sound quality out of it. So if you're a podcaster or if you're somebody who really values sound quality, highly recommend the RE20 mic. But you can go out and look on Amazon, B&H, Adorama, anywhere else for Guitar Center for dynamic microphones that aren't listed here. Look up the reviews, see how well they do. They're definitely. I'm using a dynamic microphone right now from Sontronics, so definitely go out and do the research and look up what's going to work for you. I know the SM7B tends to not work with certain microphone mounts, so look for those kind of quirks and sort of things, features that every mic has and may not have, and definitely do the research. I like these. Definitely recommend these. In terms of mounting, yes. So just like here, I've got my mic mounted to a boom arm. If you are looking to do, again, professional production, highly recommend a mounting solution. Again, talking about Joe Rogan and many other TV shows, or sorry, not TV shows, web shows, podcast, radio stations use the Blue Compass boom arm. That is because it gives you a more professional look. You can kind of hide the cables inside the boom arm and sort of tends to look more professional on video. I know a lot of people also use the Rode PSA one arm, and what you're seeing at the bottom right here is our mounts to basically mount it to the underside of a table so that it can sort of be stable. And the whole point of a boom arm really is to make sure that the mic is in a stable, noise-free. You're not shaking the, if you have it on the table, or if you're moving documents around, it's not picking up the vibration from the surface that you're using basically. And so boom arm is a really good solution. The one I'm using right now, and the one I definitely recommend if people just don't want to invest in a $100 boom arm, which both of these do cost $100. And again, like the quality of the product speaks for itself. Quite honestly, I have used both of them. They are very nice looking, but if you're not looking to spend that much money, I'm using the Tonor boom arm. It actually comes with its own pop filter and a mic cover, and it's only $39. It's super cheap and easy to use. And definitely did want to remind everybody, if you have questions, please submit them in the chat. Please submit them in the comments. We will happily take a look at them and answer them at the end of the live stream. But yeah, so I'm using the Tonor boom arm. It's very decent. It's got a few clamps on it, so you can unlock and lock it. The Rode PSA and the Blue Compass, you see they don't come with clamps, because when you move them, they stay in that position. That's why they're $100. But definitely a good way of getting clean audio that is vibration free, and isn't going to like create distortions and issues for the mic while you're trying to use it. And of course, you can easily move it up or down how you feel in terms of how you want to use it. If you don't want to invest in a boom arm, highly recommend what's called a mic stand. Very very basic. Definitely any guitar. If you go to Guitar Center, you can just get a regular old mic stand. But if you don't want to spend, or if you don't want to use a giant mic stand that's gonna require you to stand up every time you use the mic, tabletop mic stands are a really good investment and a really good alternative. The one from Ore comes for only $13. The base is pretty heavy, and that way you can sort of use the microphone as much as you want, and it goes up and down. It telescopes slightly, so you can adjust the height as well. Same thing with the Rode DS1. You can see it's definitely got a really heavy bass on it. So again, the whole point of the heavy bass is to prevent vibrations and have the mic not move around too much. The Proline MS-112 is a bit more expensive, but then comes with its own tiny little boom arm, which just makes things a little bit more easier, and have definitely seen that in a few web podcasts myself. So definitely good products. All these are good products, but like I said, go out and do your research. Definitely, find one that works best for you. So if you do have an XLR dynamic microphone, you definitely want to make sure that you are connecting it to an input device, because you won't be able to connect the XLR cable to a computer otherwise. You need a USB interface, and so that's what these are. These are interface devices that connect to your computer, and that way you can connect more than one microphone. So if you're doing a podcast or a live stream with more than one person, definitely suggest using these to be able to input more than one microphone into your computer and not have to use up all the USB ports, which again, like depends on the computer, depends on the mic that you're using. Most of the times, it would be better if you have an XLR microphone to just have it go through an input device. So the Scarlett 2i2 is definitely something that's recommended. People have used it. I'm using a 2i2 myself right now. And you can connect, you can connect a guitar to it. You can connect a music device to it, or you can, as you can see, you can connect two XLR microphones to it, and really allows you to control the gain, control the noise. Just makes things easier for you when you're using remote production, tools. Also recommend the Zoom UHC2. If you've ever heard of Zoom makes recorders, typically the H1 to H6 line, which so many of us have used. And so now they're also getting into the audio interface business. Definitely a good alternative if you don't want to spend money on the Scarlett 2i2. But definitely, it's a bit more expensive, but Zoom is also a really good audio company. If you're looking to do a full-on podcast and you really need sort of a more professional level of audio mixing and audio tools, then highly recommend the Rode Podcaster Pro, which is definitely meant for high-end audio production. But the funny part is, even though it's high-end audio production, if you look into how much the high-end mixers cost, like the Rode Podcaster Pro is actually a pretty decent buy in that sense. And what it also allows you to do is things like mix minus, and mix minus is when you're basically getting a phone call in, so you're able to connect like a phone to the mixer, and then you're able to cut out your own audio while the audio is going out to the other party, so there's no echoes, which you may have seen, you may have heard on some of the podcasts. I'm sure many people who have done phone calls on podcasts have had to deal with that, where the audio just echoes out. And so a mix minus setup is really, really easy to do on a Rode Podcaster Pro. You can again connect more than two mics to it, and just allows you to do a lot more with your audio production if you're so inclined. But definitely for just people with one or two mics, or even just one mic, recommend the Scarlett 2i2. There is another model for the Scarlett called the Scarlett Solo that only has one. So if you just have one mic, definitely go for the Scarlett Solo, which is about $120, maybe less than that. Definitely look around. A lot of these products are currently sort of out of stock as refilling their stocks due to coronavirus. So definitely be on the lookout for better prices soon, or just in stock announcements. Lighting, very important. If you're just looking for a simple lighting situation, I would definitely recommend a mini light like an Aperture Amaran or a ring light. Ring lights are great because they just make sure that they're close up to you, but lights are great because they provide beautiful bright lighting, and it really does highlight the skins way better than most of the other lights that tend to be from one side only. And the only thing with ring lights is just make sure they're pretty close to you. The farther apart you go, the more the ring lights fall off happens, and so then the effect goes away. The Aperture Amaran is actually something that I'm using right now. I see it right here. So I'm using the Aperture Amaran myself, and I've used it many times. Connected to a camera, connected to a cell phone, to a tripod, to many other. It's definitely a wonderful LED light. LED is great because one, you can easily recharge the light anytime you wish, and two, you can change the color. You can change for daylight, adjust for daylight, or adjust for night. Definitely recommend both of those at the top. If you are looking to get into a bit more of a heavier lighting situation, these panel lights are a great solution. Definitely recommend getting like a monopod or a light stand with these. The Elgato key light, again, it's really popular with gamers and you can actually mount it on top of your monitor as well. So if you're looking to invest in a light stand, would recommend some sort of monitor or tabletop and for your panel lights, but these will also give you just a really bright light, right behind your camera, behind your webcam, and just provide a lighting solution for your video production needs. They recommend the Aperture Amaran and the Neewer ring light. In terms of accessories, so the other important thing when you're doing a virtual meeting or a remote production or any kind of virtual production is make sure that you have headphones in. If you don't have headphones, tends to happen a lot of times is the audio coming out from your laptop or your computer or from your speakers tends to bleed into the mic. And so having headphones in is a really great solution to prevent any kind of echo and make sure that you're not getting any kind of weird audio distortion or effects happening while you're talking. And also want to make sure that when you're in a virtual meeting or when you're in any of these kind of situations, make sure that whatever audio that you're using, whatever headphones that you're using, you keep them plugged in, because if you take them out and the Bluetooth disconnected, that also causes a lot of distortion. I've seen this happen for many people, so just flag that. In terms of accessories, definitely if you're investing into a nice microphone and a nice some of these nice products, would highly recommend video monitors, because they're just going to allow you to hear the audio way better. I'm using Bluetooth earphones right now just for ease of use, but definitely the input devices that I showed you before, the Scarlett 2i2 and the Zoom USB 2, any of these input devices are going to have a monitor headphone input right here and a direct jack right here, so you're able to control your volume up or down and be able to hear what you sound like without the distortion from the without having the audio come back in through the computer. That's really key to having. That's why a lot of people monitors, especially in radio stations and situations like that. Definitely want to recommend a foam windscreen or a pop filter. I did not prices up here because they can vary from person to person and from product to product. So I want to recommend a pop filter or a foam windscreen. What these do is they tend to a pop filter is really used for music productions, but I'm seeing it used in a lot of audio days as well, where people are doing vocals. And they both of them, what they do is they prevent blow. So when you're seeing a lot of p or s sounds, a foam windscreen and a pop filter prevent that pop of air from saying the p or s sound bring into the microphone, and that's really helpful because again that just prevents it from distorting the audio that's coming through. Definitely want to recommend, using a foam windscreen right here. I do it blocking your face from the camera. Go for it, and maybe you can explain it to me next time on the next production webinar because I haven't been able to get it right so far. Also want to recommend, if you're just like, I really don't want to bother with any of these production tools and I really just want an all-in-one situation and don't want to have to like worry about all these kind of different tools and different settings, definitely recommend gaming headphones, because they're going to give you the whole enchilada without having to worry about any of the apart from the lighting and webcam solutions. A gaming headphone will fill all your needs in that sense of having a built-in microphone, built-in speakers, and just having proper a proper audio experience without having to deal with a lot of these issues, and the pieces of equipment, having to set them up, buy them, all of that. So if you're just looking to do basic gaming, you're streaming on Twitch or YouTube, and you just want to talk to your friends, and then you also want to do a live stream, definitely recommend gaming headphones as an alternative. Now let's talk about streaming software. I'm going to try not to get very in depth on here because these are very, very complex situations or pieces of software, and they all have their different quirks and uses and needs and demands. So we'll not try to give you a tutorial for every single one, but we'll try to separate them based on how I've seen them used and what uses they may have for you. If you're not looking to spend a lot of money, but you're looking to do live streams and you're looking to, not spend a lot of money because you're just starting up and you just want to get something going without having to buy a lot of, products, software products, highly recommend OBS, Open Broadcasting Streamer. I believe the program's name is. OBS is used by a lot of people. It does require a bit of knowledge about how to use it. Tutorials. There's plenty of tutorials on YouTube and elsewhere to be able to look up how OBS works. But OBS is basically, it's an open source broadcaster, and allows you to stream to YouTube, Facebook, any of the other social media platforms. And is fairly easy to use, but like I said, there is a bit of a learning curve there, and is free. So why not use it in that sense? And you can easily connect your webcams, your microphones, all of those things to OBS. And usually you get two screens to be able to show you what you're showing. And you can also do sort of transitions where you have two screens. So one is going to show you what's going on the live stream, and one's going to show you what's going on into your video. If you're loading up graphics, you can play videos on there. All those kind of fun things. If you're more familiar with gaming, then you may be aware of Streamlabs OBS or SL OBS, as people call it. Streamlabs OBS is also free, but the benefit in that program is it comes with a lot of widgets. So if you've ever seen a gaming stream and you've seen a tip jar or you've seen a chat window on the live stream going on, that's usually being done by Streamlabs OBS, because it comes with some plugins. So OBS is free. Streamlabs OBS is what I call freemium. The main program itself is free, but if you want some of the other features, like I said, being able to do super chats or tip jars, being able to show them, then you can buy, like, for a little, few dollars, the widgets that come alongside the main program. But definitely I've seen people use Streamlabs OBS on YouTube as well. It's definitely recommended if you're looking for something that's a bit more sort of simple and easier to use. It's just a different product, but it works just as well. If you are looking to do something that is completely that is not free, in the sense of that you require a bit more production support, you require you want to have a bit more production involved with it, with your live stream, and is maybe somewhat easier to use than some of these products, definitely recommend a program called StreamYard. StreamYard has a free version, StreamYard has a basic version, and then StreamYard has a super premium version. The basic version, you can broadcast for as long as you like onto your platform of choice, but it will show a StreamYard logo. And what StreamYard really is you sign up for it, you connect your webcam to it, you connect your microphone to it, and then essentially it's like a broadcasting room that's being hosted on a server. So OBS and Streamlabs require a lot of processing power. So if you have a laptop, a lot of times you'll find out while you're streaming that the stream just isn't properly working, or the computer is freezing up because of the processing power required to live stream while also taking in a video and audio feed. So definitely recommend StreamYard because you're not doing the computing. StreamYard servers are doing the computing, and then they're broadcasting that out to the platform of your choice. StreamYard also allows about 6 simultaneous people. So if you're looking to do a video call and then you want the video call live streamed out, I would highly recommend StreamYard as an option versus trying to do a Skype connection or any kind of remote connection virtual call with OBS. Because then what you're doing is you've got a virtual call, you've got OBS, then you're streaming it out, and you're also taking in all the video feeds, which is going to be very, very computer intensive. So if you don't have a high-end computer, if you're just looking to do remote video calls, or you're just looking to make things easy on yourself, that's what StreamYard is there for. I believe the basic version is $25 a month, which I honestly think is way worth it in that sense if you're just looking to make things easier on you. One of my favorite vlogs on YouTube does Game of Thrones recaps, and he uses StreamYard, and he does I don't know, 4-hour live streams using the basic version of StreamYard. So it's really helpful in that sense. Plenty of people are using it. It's a great product. But if you're looking to do even more and you want full on high end production, you want you want to connect your cinema camera and you want to have multiple people on the live stream. And you also want to broadcast it out, and you have maybe a TriCaster, or maybe you have the Blackmagic presenter, or you just have really high-end production involved with your live stream. Highly recommend these 2 programs called vMix and Wirecast, both of which also have virtual call-in capabilities, so you can connect your GoToMeeting, you can connect your Skype to vMix and Wirecast. They're definitely way more powerful. If you have remote cameras, PTZ cameras connected to connecting to your live stream, you can control them from vMix and Wirecast. So they really are intended for high-end users, and people who are really looking to put together a production. Maybe you're in an arena, you're doing a giant town hall, something to that effect. Then vMix and Wirecast are the products for you. Not going to go way too much into the details. vMix and Wirecast both have powerful capabilities on their own, and they can broadcast. I believe they now have options to broadcast in 4K as well. So definitely do the research and look into the price points for both of them, because they are meant for sort of enterprise high-end production level users. But for most of us average Joes would recommend something simple as StreamYard or Streamlabs OBS or OBS. Or you could just connect your microphones to your smartphone and use the YouTube app, honestly. So happy to take questions and answers from people. And if you have any comments, happy to take those. If you do have more concerns that you want to reach out to us, please do email us at civics-outreach@google.com. And yeah, happy to take any questions that people may have.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Anong. I always learn so much about all the tools and gadgets that I think we all need to kind of invest in right now. So I see a question here from Surreal. He says, great presentation so far. Is there a way to use the iPhone or iPad as a webcam?
So unfortunately, there isn't a proper way to use an iPhone or iPad and connect it to your computer and use the camera on them as a webcam. That is something that is not available as a capability. If you did want to connect your iPhone or your iPad into a larger live stream, would recommend using something like StreamYard, where you can use your iPhone or iPad as a secondary camera. Not as a secondary camera, as a secondary source. There's no sort of camera selection, as a secondary source. And then essentially what StreamYard does is it gives you a link onto which everybody jumps on, like a Zoom meeting or like a Google meeting. And so essentially what you do is you open up that link on your iPhone or iPad, and then jump onto there as as a secondary user, basically. And so that would be one way of connecting a secondary device onto your overall live stream or your overall meeting. But currently, because of a lot of technological reasons and a lot of probably proprietary reasons, you cannot use your iPhone or iPad as a webcam connected to your computer.
Got it. Totally makes sense. And of course, if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat below, or if you're watching via YouTube, just comment them right below the video. Now, I wonder if you can talk a little bit about, we know here in DC and in the civic space that, there is a lot of movement around, a lot of principles going from A to B. We have some senators and representatives back on the Hill doing hearings in a socially distant way. But then, we do have folks in other places. Can you talk a little bit about how utilizing some of this technology can help when you might be chasing a member of Congress down that is in the Capitol, but you might be at home?
Yeah, I mean, definitely being able to communicate with people and being able to sort of do, work from home while we're in this situation is definitely, these tools are definitely helpful in that situation. I also did a webinar previously on sort of more mobile or sort of a different version of remote production where you're using so like I have a smartphone rig right here that you can see. It's got a microphone, it's got a light on it, and it's got a smartphone mount on it. So if you're looking to be on the move and you kind of can't really pull people into a certain situation or an area because of social distancing, definitely recommend going mobile for situations like that. Having a mobile tripod, having a smartphone, not having to bother with a giant camera would be the way to go, in my opinion. I also think if you're working from home and you're doing a lot of remote calls, if you're a professional and you're a principal and your boss needs to call into a web show, having a rig with a light on it and having a proper microphone that's not an iPhone microphone that isn't going to get distorted is definitely going to be a really, really helpful product to have for your office, because you're going to be able to just upgrade your production without having to spend too much time and money on it. And so that's what I would recommend definitely for Hill offices where, your boss is, back in the home state and cannot really leave. Definitely buy some of these products for them and set it up for them. Happy to take any questions if you have any issues with setting up these products, and sort of provide them with a more upgraded situation versus having to call in via phone or webcam, or a laptop.
Absolutely, makes all the difference. Kind of going along that same vein, Alex has a question. He asked, if someone has a limited budget, what would you prioritize and spend your money on first?
Microphones. Definitely spend your money on audio. If there's no good audio, people will be really, I mean, this is like from my college days. Like, if there's no good audio, people just tune out. If they cannot hear you, they will tune out. So definitely recommend getting a good microphone first, and then focusing on the look and feel of things. Because quite honestly, yeah, I mean, if you can, if you can set up like a iPhone with a flashlight on right next to a nice microphone, that can also do the job in terms of lighting. But highly recommend a good audio as the beginning point for all of these, before approaching sort of the more other lighting or webcam products.
Absolutely. There's nothing worse than hearing the wind in the background and not being able to hear the subject. So great advice. I hope everybody goes out and buys their microphones first. I do see another question from Surreal here. He thanks you so much for the answer to his first question, and he's asking for any recommendations on a gimbal for a smartphone or any accessories when streaming from a smartphone.
Yeah. So to give, I've definitely addressed this in a previous webinar, and happy to direct you to that webinar as well, on remote production. I think it's on the Google News Initiative web channel, YouTube channel. But in terms of gimbals, would also recommend something like a Zion Smooth gimbal or the DJI Osmo. Both of them have smartphone gimbals, and you're also able to attach like microphones and certain monitoring devices and lights to them. I have a Zion Smooth 4, and that's what I've used for a lot of, especially when I worked in the Senate, when I had to move around a lot. That's what I would recommend that people use if you're streaming from a smartphone. That is definitely like something that would be good to have in your wheelhouse.
Totally. Nong, I know you're the gimbal king.
Yeah, I have two, and I don't have enough, quite honestly. So,
you love to hear it. I always am excited because I know not only is Anong talking about these on our webinars here, but also he uses them in practice. So I think it's so valuable to hear this information. I don't see any more questions out there, but like Anong said before, if you do have any more questions, feel free to reach out to us at civics-outreach@google.com. We're happy to take any questions there. Of course, if you enjoyed this webinar, feel free to take a look and watch some of the others that we've done throughout quarantine, many different topics. Anong did one that's similar on some of these production tools. And then, of course, there's some more YouTube basics, things about G Suite, trends, you name it. There's probably something there for anybody who's looking to just learn a little bit more about how you can use Google tools in the civic space. So thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. Our next webinar isn't going to be for a little bit just because of the 4th of July holiday. Our next webinar is going to be on Wednesday, July 15th at 2 p.m. And we'll be talking about prioritizing safety and security as we approach the 2020 election. So we'll see you guys then on Wednesday, July 15th at 2 p.m. Same time, same day, same channel. And thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.